Welcome, everybody, to Rad Pod and Chill. This is the hour of the week that interrupts my listening to punk rock because that's what I felt like doing tonight. And I always have to I have to break for Rad Pod and Chill, and that's cool. I was listening to a lot of Danzig today. I had a hankering for Mother. I really wanted to hear Mother in honor of Mike Pence testifying in front of the special counsel for 5.5 hours. That was awesome. I couldn't stop playing Mother because I was amusing myself. Anyway, my name's Heidi Kuda. I'm here with my friends Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity. We are a show that investigates disinformation and fascists and traitors. And we also, on Thursday nights, are more like just some friends at the bar hanging out. I'm always, having a mocktail. Well, these guys are imbibing or inhaling, I should say, various, I don't
controlled
substance. One pill makes you larger, one pill makes you small, and the ones that Mother give you don't do anything at all.
I must say, I don't know if it's Hi-Fi's lighting or if it's his exfoliation, but you just look so glowy and dewy tonight, Hi-Fi. How'd you do it?
Good skincare is important. How do I do it? I do kind of a basic.
I'm not sure glowy and dewy is a very bad law.
I just think it's playing against type, you know what I'm saying?
It's how I became not an incel. All right.
Oh, all
Take
right.
care of yourself. Right? Attend to your hygiene.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem. All this shit, the alt-right gamer is all because of bad skincare. God damn it.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if some of these boys would get off the goddamn computer, take care of themselves, make themselves presentable, read some fucking books, go out, be a pleasant gentleman, right?
Also,
maybe they get fucking laid and they'd stop shooting up schools.
Full disclosure.
They're selling out national secrets on fucking Discord servers.
Full disclosure, when I first became friends with Hi-Fi, I had to listen to hours of this. Hours of, if people would just groom themselves properly, read some books, learn some words,
Yeah, this is the time that I have to remind everyone. Hi-Fi, he showed up with no shirt on and put his phone on his belly. So all of his fanciness it's a LARP. He's LARPing. He's a LARPer.
In Hi-Fi's defense, I must say it was hot that day when he was shirtless and having his phone on his belly. Am I correct about that? It was a hot day.
It was. And I was up in an attic and it was like 85 degrees.
Yeah.
I was sweaty. I'm not a small person. I get sweaty. Sorry.
I do want to say that back to the news, because we will do a little bit of discussing of the news. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall during Pence's test. All right. Just, come on. It's Rad Pod and Chill. We did have...
dad jokes are the whole point.
I know, and I'm a mom. Totally. That's what's so weird. Why does a mother tell dad jokes? I don't
know.
Because you hang out with us, and we're fucking.
We're accepting of all
dad jokes.
If you want to be a mom who tells dad jokes or a dad who tells mom jokes, it's all fine with us.
I do want to say that we are a show that produces news, breaks news, and irrevocably, I don't know why, we often become the news. Jim, do you want to take it from there?
Do you have anything you'd like to share with the class, Jim? Anything happened today?
Is there a tweet that you have by any chance available?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh, that thing. That.
So let me explain. Mike Flynn. Okay, you can get rid of this now. Mike Flynn got bent out of shape because I made a thread that got popular. It's got. I don't have many tweets that have 10,000 likes, but this one did, and it never named Mike Flynn. It was the interesting thing about this thread. But it went kind of bonkers. It's near 1 million views. And I didn't name Mike Flynn at all. But people, it resonated with people. And the reason it resonated is because it's fucking true. I didn't say his name. I didn't say any American name in the entire thing. I certainly did not mention Mike Flynn, but I told the story of an American general who was compromised by Vladimir Putin and started to act against the interests of his own country. And over the years, became more and more aggressive in his literal war against his own nation. So I wrote a nice long thread just telling that story. And people liked it, resonated with people because it's fucking true.
It's a lovely story too.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Crazy story. It was like at the end of it, I'm like, shitty movie script, right? Because it's crazy. What do you mean, General fucking Putin is out here like psyoping America? What? That's crazy, but it's true.
Jim will tell you that I called him because halfway through reading the thread, I was like, "This is the shittiest script ever," and then I got to the very last line, and he's like, "This is the shittiest script." It's so crazy. So yeah.
Anyway, so people caught on. People like that, and it made the Flynns mad, super mad. So Joe came into my thread, and this is how the Flynns operate, right? Came in and he trolls me all the time, but this time he was very serious.
For our audience, you should explain who this is, just so in case
Joe Flynn is
new.
the brother of the worst traitor in American history, Mike Flynn. So Joe Flynn comes into my thread and tries to get me to admit that I want Mike Flynn dead. Tries to get me to cop to advocating murder. What I did was I retweeted somebody who pointed out that there are constitutional penalties for treason. I didn't fucking it was perfectly true.
It is true.
And so
100%.
But little Joe, he got all bent out of shape. And so he came into my thread and tried to get me to admit that I want Mike Flynn dead. I don't want Mike Flynn dead. I don't at all. I have, in fact, what Joe Flynn was trying to do was make me admit to what's called intentional malice. Because Mike Flynn is a public figure, I can say anything the fuck I want about him as long as it's not intentionally false and intentionally malicious. So what Joe was trying to do was trying to create intentional malice. Because the next fucking day, this morning, he served me at my home with a cease and desist order, listing a bunch of mean things that he doesn't like. So he wants me to delete everything I've been doing for the last 3 fucking years. And that, Joe and Mike Flynn, is not going to fucking happen. So Joe tries to set me up with this fucking thing, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the bathroom, and there's a loud knock at my fucking door, at my actual fucking house. And it's a fucking rent-a-cop with a pretend fucking badge and his with his little subpoena outfit on, and he fucking hands me a letter, or at my house, after scaring the shit out of my wife, wondering what the fuck this weird rent-a-cop is doing in our house, looking for me. And so I get this letter, and you can imagine that's not a pleasant scenario, and that was on purpose. That was on purpose to traumatize me, traumatize my family, and try and shut me up. Why? Well, Mike Flynn's crack legal team, Jesse Banal and Jared Roberts, crack legal team. They have 3 priorities right now. They are suing the Department of Justice, they're suing the FBI, and they're going to sue this Twitter guy. This Twitter guy right here. All I do is fucking tweet, and I write on my little Substack and a blog. And I am their priority for Jesse Banal, who has represented who? Donald Trump, the Republican National Committee, Kremlin asset Ron fucking Paul.
Stop it.
Libyan warlords. Warlords. Who were the Libyan warlords that fucking Eric Prince got in trouble for breaking fucking sanctions? That's a bit so strange. It's so weird that you happen.
And Jim. And Jim.
Libyan warlords.
And Jim.
Traffic kids.
And Jim.
Isn't that weird? And me.
And Jim.
The DOJ, the FBI, and fucking me. Why is that? It's definitely because I'm wrong about Mike Flynn. Me, little blogger, and fucking Twitter guy, I am the most important thing to Mike Flynn other than the DOJ and the FBI. So I am here to say to Mike Flynn.
He's big mad.
There is and I will land plainly. There's a thing, you may have heard of it, called discovery. Discovery is a process by which, if you accuse me, for example, of defamation, for saying that you, Mike Flynn, are a Kremlin fucking asset who works for Vladimir Putin, if you say that is defamation, you have to give me all of your fucking communications going all the way back 10 fucking years to show that you weren't emailing with fucking Sergei Kislyak and fucking Igor Sergun, the head of the GRU, and your fucking Russian girlfriend. You have to give me all of that. So please, dear God, Mike Flynn, sue me. Do it right away. It will be fucking amazing. Thank you. Coming to my fucking TED Talk. Arrest Mike Flynn.
He's big mad.
I just like the fact that Mr. Binall showed up in your thread and he's like, I'm your huckleberry. And I was just like, no, you're more like a dingleberry.
So we have a podcast. And our podcast for, I don't know, going on 2 years, I guess, year and a half, I don't know, has been interviewing the best minds around the world on Italian fascism, German fascism, Russian authoritarianism, pipelines of disinformation, laboratories of autocracy. Yeah, and we interviewed somebody who's been documenting the war in Ukraine for the last 9 years daily, Dr. Michael McKay. And he talked about how 2016 was when the elite capture of the Republican Party was actually completed, and gave a lot of evidence about that. And I think 2023 is the year that even people mildly paying attention to American politics can see that for themselves. I don't know if you managed to get a current clip from Dr. McKay, or if you have one from when I interviewed him on the eve of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
Well, I'll play what I have.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
I think I have something recent. Matter of fact, I think it was the last time he was on our show. Let me see. I'm going to play it. Ready? Here we go.
I don't think the world is taking it seriously at all. And when I see, for example, allowing Russia to take the presidency of the Security Council, which they have this month, when it could have been prevented with a simple veto, this is irresponsible. Only a few countries have declared the Wagner private military company to be a terrorist group. A handful of Eastern European groups, and this is completely irrational. Only a few countries have declared the Russian regime to be a terrorist regime, and my complaint about this is it's not realistic. That's what the epitome of sound politics is supposed to be. Successful, whether it's good or bad, our successful foreign policy is based upon a realistic understanding of the nature of our adversaries, our allies, and so on. We're supposed to be realistic. And so when I see this persistence in a fantasy to say basically that, oh, we'll treat the Russian Federation, which by the way is a false name twice over, as a nation state. But it's not. And not coming to terms with the fact that it's a terrorist regime, that it is a criminal syndicate, that it is that is the, I've called it the residue of an empire as well. These are all its characteristics. Not coming to terms with this, and then not coming to terms with what the perspective I see Ukrainians have. The only result that makes any sense is victory for Ukraine and defeat for the Russian Federation. And the sooner that is brought about, the better. And
thank you for that. Thank you for cutting that clip, Hi-Fi. That's really, really important. The residue of an empire, referring to it as a terrorist regime. One of the most, I encourage everybody to watch episode 66 of Rad Pod. You'll find that at YouTube. But one of the most important things he said, and it's really putting the media on notice, is that the media has been covering this war as if it's World War II, and the reporters are covering it from Berlin, as opposed to from London or cities where the Allied forces are. So I'd like the media to actually think about that, because we continually see them using the propaganda words, the propaganda rhetoric. And as Ruth Ben-Ghiat has taught us, propaganda is never just words. It's to encourage a belief that benefits the leader and the leader's allies. Jim?
He says something else that's really, really important and is a doable thing in the sane government, which is to declare Russia to be a state sponsor of terrorism. Because guess what? If you do that, you can stop people from spreading their fucking propaganda, right? Like you're not supposed to go and spend and spread ISIS propaganda, right? You're not supposed to fucking do that, and it will get taken down if it happens. So when the fucking Kremlin is out here attacking LGBTQ plus people and creating Nazi, terrorist Wagner fucking groups, we need to be honest about what is happening. He's a fucking war criminal according to The Hague.
Yeah.
So why can't we call them a state sponsor of terrorism? The reason is because of the Republican fucking Congress. But
filled with chaos agents doing the bidding.
Right. It would never, ever in a zillion years pass that. So that's the problem in the short term. But it is a really, really good rallying cry, in my opinion, to get the fucking president to say it, to get our intelligence communities to say it, to start saying what this is, which is an insurgent, foreign, enemy nation state invading us.
Yeah, right.
The terrorism is right here.
Right.
It's invading people's minds, turning them violent. Yeah.
Right. So I took that interview because, you know, you guys, I asked Michael to give me a bunch of slogans because he has such a great way of getting right to the heart of the matter with the way he views things. And so I listed a whole bunch of his slogans in a blog post that I wrote. But one of the things that I think is really, really, really incredibly important is that one of the people that often comes up on our show is Hannah Arendt, and he quoted her saying, "Words are action, as much a part of the war effort as sending troops to the front." And why that is so important is we investigate and expose disinformation. Jim is one of the people who has been going to platforms like Telegram and Rumble and warning people for years that these words are action and that this propaganda is infecting the minds of our people, and that these words that are action are causing chaos and destabilization events. And I actually think, based on recent interviews that we've done with some of our kind of the collective knowledge I've been gleaning from people internationally, I actually believe that Russia has already invaded Florida, and it just looks different. It's not little green men. It's people that they have in place. If you look at what the governor of Florida is doing, arresting Democratic leaders who are peacefully protesting, the types of laws that he's passing, which are very similar to what Russia has done a few years ago when you look at how it's targeting the gay community. I actually believe one of our states has already been invaded by Russia, and it just looks different. And I'd love you guys to tell me what you think about that, because it's kind of a thesis that I'm sort of working up in my mind right now. I would like to be wrong. I would like to think that that's not the case, but it's certainly.
No, you ain't wrong. Look, so it's I would argue it's the second state. The first state is Kentucky, which is just fucking Moscow. Moscow Rand Paul and a bunch of Moscow's, you know, aluminum companies and shit, right? Like, it's just corrupt as fuck.
Wow.
But the government isn't quite as, you know, heinous as Florida, and the state's not as big. And I agree with you that it is deeply, deeply compromised by Russians. The real estate market is a giant Russian money laundering, you know, operation down there. The law enforcement is fucking corrupt and full of frankly, you know, white supremacists. And the governor is doing everything in his power to replicate the Third Reich. I mean, all the things that you can do, attack. He putting people in jail for making a mistake on their voter card, like going to arrest like people. Oh, and by the way, all of them happen to be black. Isn't that weird? How when he arrested, you know, the people for making a mistake, they all happen to be black. Like it's obvious what he's doing. It is the epitome of the, you know, democracy experiment, or like anti-democracy experiment. autocracy is what he's trying to create there. And I agree with you.
He's very, very dangerous. We know that he has a former press secretary who's now a campaign director who had to register as a foreign agent. You know, all these bills certainly seem like what, you know, like mirror images of what Orban's been doing, and of course Orban being linked with Putin. So, you know, and I'm beginning to apply this to Texas as well, but I really see it in Florida. We have so many friends there who are beside themselves, and we have friends who are moving out, people who love their homes and their neighbors and their areas, but who do not feel safe raising their children there. Yes, high five.
DeSantis is such an autocrat that he is attempting to change the state law of Florida so that he does not have to step down as governor to run for president.
Yeah, these are really, really bad signs for Floridians. And also, the one good thing though is that in watching his recent interviews and how he's been responding to anybody who asks a question that he can't control, it's very clear to me that I see the Koch cadre backing slowly away from him.
Yeah,
he's not going to be our president.
Well, there's been an interesting kind of back and forth with Flynn and Trump and DeSantis and all of this. Flynn appears to have placed his bet on Donald fucking Trump, and he thinks he's going to be vice president again. Trump said out loud at his fucking at the Lee County GOP dinner, Trump said that he hopes Mike Flynn is in good health because he's going to need him in 2024. By the way, the guy who runs the Lee County GOP is a violent cult member who has an AR-15 with a flag decal on it that Mike Flynn signed before he went on stage to fillet Donald Trump and try and become vice president. And the reason why Mike Flynn was there is because guess where fucking Mike Flynn lives?
Look, I don't think we should always say negative things about people we don't like. So I will say one thing about Ron DeSantis. He does have a very attractive wife. I think she is.
Stop it. So it's very serious because, you know, one of the things that Ruth has taught me, you guys, come on. One of the things that Ruth has taught me is we do not memory hole anything. And it is very important to note that when Mike Flynn was gifted a AR-15, he quipped that he'd maybe have to go to Washington, D.C., that he had referenced, you know, that we need a coup when there was a coup occurring in Myanmar. And so, like, there's a lot of things that are documented that show the seriousness of the villainy here, and it cannot be understated. And I wrote all about Trump's legal entanglements. Are we really having a conversation about him as a presidential candidate? Is the media really going to cover it like a horse race? Or are we going to talk about twice impeached, disgraced, under investigation, multiple lawsuits? You know, what are we doing in America if we're just going to pretend that these gentlemen were not involved in a violent insurrection to overthrow our country? Like, does it really have to be our frickin' podcast that reminds people of this week after week? Or can this be something where corporate media actually joins us and grows a pair and actually reminds Americans who these people are and how dangerous they are?
They're this guy. They're this fucking guy right here. This guy.
Yeah. So the people often wonder, why doesn't Mike Flynn ever get written about? Why doesn't he get fucking put in prison? Why doesn't anything happen to him? Well, the reason is because he does shit like this to anyone who talks about him, right? If the fucking press goes after him, he'll sue CNN for $75 million, right? I put my tweets, by the way, in the lawsuit 2 years ago. And guess what? That lawsuit got laughed the fuck out of court. It doesn't, because it's just lawfare. It's just stupidness. And so,
Well, I think that there is going to be a lot of stupidness in between now and 2024, which is why I'm continually writing about what I'm now calling desperosity in the upside down. Because Jim, you wrote about the two different worlds and the tectonic, collision. But right now, there's the unreality that these desperate characters have been selling for years. And there's the reality in which people live in who are not yet brainwashed. And that unreality that these people have been forcing folks to live in, they created it to hide corruption. They created it to hide criminal behavior, okay? And so as we learned from the Ukrainian soldier friend of ours, Volodymyr Demchenko, forcing people to live in an unreality is basically forcing people to live in some sort of hell. And why I'm concerned and why I'm continually writing about this now is we learned from Alex Alvarova 2 weeks ago that people who are sludge fed unreality all the time with repetition and the onslaught of it become sick a little bit. And I would like to triage America being sick a little bit. I would like to figure out a way where we can reach the highest levels of our country and the top ranking leadership to stop allowing people to become sick a little bit. I get letters every single day from somebody else who is in agony because their sister believes in plandemic. Their brother-in-law believes in died suddenly. Everybody's lurking around on Rumble and Telegram, which Jim will tell you not to go to. And it's up to people like us and President Jackie Singh to fight these people. And it's like, why is that? Where is the courage and the bravery of America? Where are people? Like, you're just going to let your neighbors get picked off one at a time and the world become invasion of the body snatchers? Because people who are compromised by Vladimir Putin are creating an unreality. Like, that's just bullshit. I'm sorry, but if you're silent and you're not doing anything.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. We need a lot more people to do a lot more, right? But it's also very fucking tricky what they do. It's very, very challenging for a reason. These people are experts. This is military grade shit where, they make it painful for you to say things. They make it painful for you to support other people who say things they don't like. They make it painful for you to write stories. They make it painful for you to speak or to exist, for that matter. And they do that because they do not want you to tell the truth. That's the simple fact. And so anyone who tells the truth gets this treatment. And so that's hard for normal people it's hard for normies to kind of care enough about some weird shit going on with some guy or some podcast or whatever. That's what they rely on. Not going the next step in understanding what's actually happening. Hi-Fi, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I forgot. It's too late now.
Well,
damn it. We're so...
Sorry.
Oh,
I remembered.
There you go. I knew you would. I knew you
You know
would.
what it was? Speaking of bullshit, I would like to point out that in Fucko's letter, he said that you called Mike Flynn a Satanist.
No, you didn't.
No, he said a follower of Satan.
No.
But we never, ever, ever, ever said that. As a matter of
No.
fact, I find that offensive. He is a member, or appears to be a member, of the I Am Saint Germain cult, the one that is based in theosophy and has a direct line to the I Am cult of the Ballards and the Silver Shirts and that whole transcended, ascended masters crazy crap. So never said he was.
Yeah, I
said he
didn't.
was-
I never said that Mike Flynn was a follower of Satan. I know Satanists, and they're way better people than fucking Mike Flynn.
So
anyway, just very quickly to follow.
Yeah.
Mike Flynn is not a follower of Satan. Mike Flynn is not a follower of anything except Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn is a malignant, narcissistic sociopath, psychopath, to be more specific, because he's very good at mimicking feelings. He's very good at mimicking things, but there's nothing inside. He doesn't believe anything. He doesn't believe in Elizabeth Clare Prophet or any of that shit. It's just what he grew up with. He said he had that prayer in his fucking wallet because his mom gave it to him. So it's not a belief system. It's not an ideology. He is an angry, rageful, egotistical psychopath who happens to be extremely good at psyop, subversion, active measures, all the things that we are seeing in America right now.
I think General.
Hold on. Somebody said, I hope Flynn has spoken to a counselor. No, Jen, we've discussed this. The Flynns would rather start World War III than go to therapy.
I think General Paul Eaton said it best in the documentary that our friends produced on, the Searching for Q, when he basically, alerted people who maybe don't watch our show, but possibly watch Vice TV on just what was at stake. So I write a lot about dissidents, and I write a lot about the reporters who came before us, came before me, who knew exactly what our war was going to look like and warned us of it. And as you guys know, Boris Nemtsov's protege, Vladimir Kara-Murza, just got 25 years in prison in Moscow, because that's what's coming for America if you don't wake up. But before he was sentenced, he was able to speak in court, and he spoke very beautifully. And he basically said, the day will come when the darkness over our country will dissipate, when a war will be called a war and a usurper, when those who unleash the war rather than those who tried to stop it will be recognized as criminals. The day will come as inevitably as spring follows even the coldest winter, and then our society will be horrified by the terrible crimes. Even today, even in the darkness surrounding us, even sitting in this cage, I love my country and I believe in our people. His words are so beautiful and so defiant, and I just want Americans to know this is what's coming here if we do not fight the fascist creep. This is not just Jim's war or our war or our friends who are brave enough to come on our show's war. This is all of our war. If Ron DeSantis can have Democratic leaders, the actual leaders of the Democratic Party, arrested, if his goons can have the Democratic leaders arrested for peacefully protesting, then that is what is coming here. And this is 2023. We've had 7 years to see what this is. Lord knows I've been writing about this for 7 years. You guys have been documenting it for 3 years. And I don't know. I don't know what's it going to take. I mean, we're just going to keep doing the work in the hopes that a broader movement will follow, because this is what's coming here. There's no other way I can put it.
It will happen, right? There will be a realization that all of this has been going on, right? The question is, when does that happen? When do we realize what is going on? Do we realize it before or after it's too fucking late? Yeah. This whole thing, everything that's going on, all this mess and us yelling and them yelling and all of it is about a race. It's about a fucking contest to see who can get to the finish line first. The finish line is one of two things. These fucking people go to prison because they're fascists and they will never stop what they're doing. Or they win. Like, they're not going to fucking stop, right?
They can't. They're too far in.
It's impossible. They're too far down the fucking road, right? So you know, that this is you know where we are. We are in a place where we have these people with an existential crisis. I mean, talk about a midlife crisis or whatever kind of fucking crisis Mike Flynn is having right now. This crisis is I'm either going to be vice president of America ski or wherever the fuck, right? Or I'm going to prison for the rest of my goddamn life. So why wouldn't he use lawfare? Why wouldn't he set up a violent insurrection? Why wouldn't he do all the things that he's doing? Because otherwise he's fucked. So his role is to hurry up and take the goddamn country over once and for all before the system that he's trying to break puts him in prison. That's the race. And so my goal is to hurry up on the part where people realize what the fuck is going on, so that we can get to the fork in the road where we're not actually in a theocratic white ethno state, answering to Emperor Flynn.
Yeah, I do want to say that there is some good news when you are talking about the Department of Justice. I do want to say that there have been multiple indictments and convictions that I think are showing that there is some movement. Last week, I wrote about the Americans who were indicted for working for the Russians, trying to throw U.S. elections and promoting Russian propaganda. So that happened. That's important. I also just wrote about, with Marty's insights, the New York lawyer who just pled guilty to money laundering for ultimately Viktor Vekselberg, a sanctioned oligarch who does not like to be called an oligarch, but So, I mean, like, for me, it's kind of like, okay, so we do have some American traitors who are being indicted and convicted. Can we just step it up quickly a few notches higher? And again, Trump tried to keep Mike Pence from testifying in front of the grand jury assembled for the special counsel looking into the interference and what happened and transpired, January 6th. He was not able to stop that. So Mike Pence had to testify today. So, these are encouraging signs. Will they happen fast enough? I don't know. It looks like there's going to be a lot of chaos and destabilization events and a lot of lawfare between now and 2024. But I've been saying it for a year. 2023 is the year we find out if we're still a rule of law country. I would like to know before summer because I want to plan a big party.
Can we just talk about Mike Pence for a second, because he's relevant? So one of the things that people may remember about January 6th is a giant crowd of QAnon people screaming, "Hang Mike Pence."
I have not forgotten that, Jim.
No, I know you haven't, my dear. It's for a rhetorical flourish. Mike fucking Pence it was attempted murder of Mike Pence. Yeah. Actual attempted murder.
Yeah.
They
terrifying.
Mike Flynn's employee, Ivan Raiklin, bald little muppet who shows up at all the congressional hearings.
I thought he was a goblin. He's a muppet.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's a fucking god. Anyway, what was I talking about?
He's a goblin muppet. We'll leave it at that.
What was I talking about? Jesus.
You were talking about Mr. Raiklin.
Yes.
And you were talking about in relation to Mike Pence and the threat on his life on January.
And we're talking about the Mike Pence card.
Thank you. Ivan Raiklin. There's too many fucking names. I'm sorry. I'm old and high.
The Mike Pence card.
I don't give a shit. Ivan Raiklin did the Pence card. He had it in his bio forever. While he was planning the insurrection, he was pushing the idea that Mike Pence had to be the guy that they were going to put the most pressure on, do the most threatening to, and if nothing worked out, the guy they were going to literally kidnap and murder. That crowd had zip ties and weapons and the whole bit. That was going to happen if those people caught him, and they were very, very close.
That's what we got from the January 6th committee.
And yet, here's Mike Pence on TV defending Donald Trump today. It's fucking incredible. Mike Pence, you are never, ever, ever, ever going to be president or vice president or any other fucking thing ever again. No one likes you. The only relevance that you will ever have in your entire life is to tell the goddamn truth about what happened in the Trump administration and leading up to 1/6. That's it. That's all you got. That's your only cards. All this other shit is just you LARPing because you're terrified. Stop being such a
So I do want to talk about the terrified part of it, because I once asked a U.S. senator why this was, I don't know, 3 years ago maybe, why the Democrats don't do more, because we know that we have a party that has been captured. The GOP has been captured. And she said that, quite frankly, there are a lot of politicians who fear the violence. This was way before the insurrection. I believe that Mike Pence is clearly aware of the violence that Trump is violent. And I think he knows that. So I think he's not quite sure exactly how he's going to play it, but he's doing the party reputation washing, which seems to be his role right now. But yeah, I do think that there are people who are just afraid of the violence that he can cause. On the other hand, he tried to stir up violence on indictment day and failed. So I think that's something people should know about.
Yeah, that's because he didn't have Mike Flynn's network behind him. Because he was busy selling fucking like gifts of himself dressed up in Superman outfits for $100.
Oh man!
Like the only, and I need to say this again, the only reason Donald Trump exists at all is because of Mike Flynn, the fucking Kremlin. Like that's why this guy is propped up, and they have not found anybody better Mike Flynn dallied with DeSantis and a bunch of others, and for a while it looked like he was not on the Trump train, but now he is.
Well,
it's just all
because of the polls,
and now
I tweeted out a little bit of a propaganda today, just for shits and giggles, about how I know I'm guilty. I did. That Tucker Carlson, that GOP operatives are weighing the Tucker Carlson Kari Lake ticket.
I mean, it's not.
Don't give them fucking ideas. What's wrong with you?
It's not at all like implausible.
Outside of the realm of possibility.
Because they are media. Because they are media creatures. I just thought, and then I wrote, because there is no bottom.
Yeah. Well, Tucky is got plenty of opportunities out there. Like what's amazing about what Tucker has done recently is built an entire horseshoe around himself, right? He used to be just white supremacist fucking dude, right? But now he's got like Jimmy Dore and like the fucking guy from the Satanic Temple, and he's pulling it all, and Jackson fucking Hinkle, this Votnik little shit, has him on his had when he had a show. He doesn't have one, but he will on Rumble. In 3, 2, 1, you will fucking show on Rumble immediately, because Peter Thiel is going to turn it into mouth.
I know, but Peter Thiel's a choir boy now. He's not interested in this stuff anymore. Didn't you get the memo?
Reuters put out this article. That was the funniest goddamn thing.
Reuters. It was so funny, and they said the same thing about Robert Mercer with no follow-up. They did the same thing a few years ago. They reputation wash, and everyone's like, oh, it's all a bunch.
It was like one of Peter Thiel's associates tells us exclusively that he's not going to be supporting any Republican candidates because he's concerned about their culture wars. I was like, are you fucking serious? If there's a single person on planet Earth that is creating more culture war in the United States on purpose, it's Peter fucking Thiel. The blind dipshittery it takes, the ignorance and just dumb assery to go ahead and print in what's supposed to be a reputable thing, like 2007 propaganda about Peter Thiel.
I would.
Are you kidding me?
This guy's tired of the culture wars. The guy who funds this motherfucker.
I would just like to remind you that Reuters has been compromised ever since it's done its little deal with
Yeah.
So I'm just saying doesn't mean that some of the reporters do not do great work, but some of them are spouting Kremlin talking points.
Unfortunately, that's how it works, right? I mean, we see like the New York Times. They have brilliant fucking work. They do brilliant work sometimes.
And then you get Vichy.
Susan, who did the Trump, I can't remember her last name, did the whole Trump investigation. That's fucking journalism. Yeah. She went and tracked down Mary Trump for months, nicely, gently, but made sure to get Mary Trump. And thank you,
Mary Trump. We love you.
Trump to give up some documents and did a batshit banana brilliant article in the New York Times about the Kremlin fucking tax evading batshit bastard that we had in the White House. And then they do this. They do all kinds of other shit that just makes you think, what happened over there? Like,
little schizophrenic.
Now run by Peter Thiel as well? Is Rupert Murdoch in the house? And what the fuck?
So
and unfortunately, it's like that with some of these places. Some of the reporters. The CBS is another one. You got Catherine Herridge out here. All she does in her everything is she just shows you Tucker Carlson clips. That's all she does.
So speaking of Tucker Carlson, you guys know how I block all trolls. Just psychologically, I have to block all trolls. But before I blocked Flynn's lawyer, I noted that he compared Tucker Carlson to Thomas Paine. And then I was like, oh no, block. I hope he doesn't believe that. I hope it's just an act so he can, include his billable hours.
Wait, was that the senior one or the beer drinking chud
I think the senior one. The senior one.
Actually, if he's watching, I'd like to talk to him for a second. Son, there is a pill out there called biotin. Okay. And it's a wonderful pill, and it will help you thicken the hair that grows out of your face.
Oh my God.
So it does not look like you have two caterpillars.
Is this grooming tips again for my can that be a separate show?
What? I'm not sure Jared is going to be able to absorb grooming tips.
Well, so what I do want to say.
Well, maybe I'll catch him in court, whatever. It's
what I do want to say.
I mean, apparently the podcast is about to go down in flames because Big Mike Flynn is mad because of mean tweets and shit we say in hellscape.
So
fucking
what I do want to say.
Cowardly blocking me, sending his little brother just giant.
Yeah, his brother who instigated death threats against me. So they're just not so nice. But what I do want to say, because
I thought he was all about freedom and free speech. What the fuck, man?
What I do want to say is that as much as we need more people to wake up to the fascist creep on our shores, I do want to thank all the people who do participate, all the people who do back us up, all the people who support the work that we do, who support the teams that I work with, and who send words of encouragement. Like every day I get something else. We just got a new Patreon today, for our little scrappy podcast, and it's not unnoticed. And we're so damn grateful because this work is punishing. It's punishing. And to know that there are people who understand it and support it means a lot.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say.
I just wanted to say thank you to the people who've been supporting me as well especially in the last day. Thank you.
Yeah. It's not easy on anybody. But I do think that since so much of what the villains of our fight do is projection, there's so much projection. Whatever they say we are, they're generally, that's what they are. I do think that it's going to be much easier moving forward, even with all of the disinformation, for people to understand who is trying to harm our country and our people, and who is trying to prevent the harm of our country and our people. I'd like to think that those lines are becoming more clear. And as long as I have breath and a keyboard, I'm just going to keep trying to make it very clear what those lines are, because I'm not going to stop.
Damn straight. Look,
damn straight.
You guys, if you just left us alone, who knows? Maybe we would have got bored with you or something. But you decided to fuck with us over and over and over again. And you just ran into the wrong crew. You just did. So
yeah, they fucked up.
They fucked up. And I'm sorry about that. We all make mistakes in life. Mike Flynn, you have made 10 years of mistakes, and you need to go to prison for the rest of your life. Joe, I still listen. You're probably this asshole in the comments right now. Joe, listen. You have a shot at being a free man. In the golden years. I mean, you're almost there anyway. But in the golden years, you have a chance. Please just flip on your brother. Stop running around trying to, get people sued or hurt or whatever the fuck you're trying to do. Just go to the goddamn FBI and tell them what you know. That's all. Then all of this will be great. It's all on you, Joe.
We can be friends.
All on you. Because your brother goes down and then the dominoes fall and then the fucking world is great. Joe Flynn, it's all on you, buddy. Come
on, man. Well, I have an update, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I have an update. So, I think this may be endemic, and I'm a little worried. So, last week I smashed Brian's.
Oh, no. Are we doing the? Oh.
Are we smashing Hitler farts again?
No. I started because where does somebody even get a jar of Hitler farts, right? So I started researching this, and it took me to the dark web, and I can't share everything I've found so far. But one thing I did was I found an advertisement on a dark website, and apparently there's a website called Shark Road out there where they can buy these things. But I found an advertisement for them, and it's kind of disturbing. So, content warning. I don't approve of this, but apparently this is how they lure young men in.
That's our show. That's our show. We'll see you guys next week.